Alrighty, hey guys, BeardBrigade coming at you with another Table Talk Tuesday. So, happy Tuesday, guys. With this episode, we are picking up with part 2 of our series about diseases in a fantasy setting, set in a more medieval era. So the last episode, which was our first Table Talk Tuesday episode, so if you haven't watched it, go ahead and head back to it. Actually cover some of the major diseases that were seen during the medieval era, and kind of just talk about it a little bit, and the main cause, which the main trend was, just the lack of cleanliness. So, coming into part 2 here for Tabletop Tuesday, we are going to be talking about games and modern fantasy games, and what we typically see for diseases, or as well as tabletop gaming, using diseases and stuff like that. Rather than probably splitting this up in two, because I don't have much to talk about for that, because it's a pretty basic subject, we'll probably throw a couple of ideas out there for you creative types, whether you're running tabletop adventure games like D&D or Pathfinder or anything like that, or maybe you're writing a story, or maybe even you're an indie video game developer and are looking for some fresh ideas. We'll be sharing some ideas and concepts that have come across my brain as a DM and creator myself, and sharing those with you guys as well during this video. So, first up though, while we'll be talking about this, I finally met the requirements to do the Pyrite questline in Skyrim, the God of Decay who has all the afflicted people dudes. Took me almost 2 hours to freaking grind out what I needed, because I ran around for the last 30 minutes trying to find the commoner guy, and then ended up hitting level 12, which I looked it up, guys. It's either level 10 and finding the afflicted commoner, or hitting level 12 and then Crash will talk to you. So I'm currently level 12. Crash will now talk to me to give me the quest. As you guys can see, I am decked out here. I'm wearing the Dwarven armor set, which I do have set to Superior through my smithing right now. And my weapon, because mainly I've been using the shield and axe, but for my weapon right now, I wanted to go ahead and use this two-handed mace, which is a mod which has added Sulfurous to the game, which is the mace that drops from the Molten Core classic raid in World of Warcraft off the final boss. So, I don't know, I really like the mace, it's cool, plus it matches the Dwarven outfit, so I'll be going with that just for the sake of this video, and it's a fun weapon. I am loaded up on my healing potions, and good to go here. So we'll start the quest line.
Yeah, this one needs something.
And while I Purite? Oh yeah, I have to get things. Duh. Oh, I hate this quest line. It's kind of a pain in the butt quest line. So, let's start with what we see in terms of diseases in broad spectrum across games. First and foremost, typically you only see them with... Ooh, I can totally go back to my run and do my mod chests and just make this easy. So typically what you guys see, what we see as gamers most often, diseases and sicknesses and poisons and like that, typically we see them in RPGs, right? Skyrim, for example. You can contract things like rock joint, which, affects the way your character operates. Now, outside of that, we don't really see, let's see, flawless release, silver ignites. Past that in RPGs, or past RPGs, we typically don't see least one. We typically don't see too many diseases, right? Or sicknesses or poisons. I mean, you might see poisons in some games. Or if it's, you know, part of a plot of the game. You know, like the Telltale games, I think you can poison certain ones. I haven't played all of them. You know, but a game like Telltale, it's kind of a role-playing game still at the same time. So, but something like a shooter. When was the last time you contracted a poison or a disease while playing a shooter? I honestly don't know. I can't think of any time where I've ever contracted a disease or a poison in a shooting game. You know, maybe as a temporary status effect in like an action-adventure game, but never, you know, any kind of long-standing ailments outside of RPGs. Now, and that's and that's mainly with oh god, I haven't even started this stuff yet. And that's mainly when I'm mainly referring to video games there. Now, when you look at like tabletop games, you know, there we see. Is it Death Note? Ah, so it's Death Note 4. Okay. Now to tabletop games, you know, a lot of game systems incorporate them. Like I know in D&D 4th edition, it was a very prominent thing, or potential prominent thing you could have. Like there was a whole, I believe, I want to say it was in the DM's guide. I don't have my 4th edition books anymore, but I used to have a bunch of them. Now, I think my game just froze. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, but so I know in 4th edition it was a big thing, but I don't know if that was okay. Sorry. I don't know how prominent it is in 5th edition because I've only played a little bit of 5th edition. And all I have for 5th edition right now is just the player's handbook. So a lot of stuff I'm going off of is kind of just homebrew in terms of what I've done for 5th edition. Now, I know a bunch of other games like Pathfinder, from what I've heard, has a lot of stuff in terms of like diseases and poisons and things like that, as well as you know, GURPS. I know has I think GURPS actually has its own book, a companion book there. I'm not 100% sure, but just, you know, there's these you know, there's charts and tables, and there's definitely the presence of them when it comes to tabletop games. Now, in all the tabletop gaming that I've done, I have only used it myself once as a DM, and it was very short. Was taken care of, boom, bang, done, and never really went past that. Now, as a player, I did have a DM use it, but it never really came into fruition, I guess. The one time I've seen it used, which really got me thinking too, because I've listened to a lot of podcasts as well over the last year of different people playing. And aside from poisons, I've not really seen people too often use diseases and poisons and ailments. They're there, but I've never really seen people take advantage of them in many different aspects of gaming. And I've only heard an occasional story of a DM actually putting poisons and diseases to use. Now, I think that's kind of a shame, to be honest, guys, because they are prevalent and they are prominent, and they add flavor to the game. They can add a bit of, I hate to say realism, but you could add a point of realism. Now, if you're just playing a more casual type tabletop game, I guess using them would be a bit much. Like, I think one of the main reasons I didn't really use it was because when I was a DM, I was a DM of for D&D, and I was a DM for a local comic book shop, so I couldn't really you know, because I had to be able to make my game successful, so I couldn't really, like, just have this you know, dysfunction or it just wasn't, I shouldn't say, I couldn't really have it. It wasn't functional for me to implement something like that in my games. For a multitude of reasons. Like, one, if that person stopped showing up because we were a public place. Two, you know, we wanted to make sure that it was simple and easy for someone to join in. And they didn't have to worry about, you know, all these crazy things. And it would just, well, it really didn't seem like a mechanic either at the time with all of the things that I was making. That really jumped out and said, use me. But now that I'm at, you know, kind of the stage in life and the point that I am with how I approach creating things, like, I kind of regret not using them, because I even went back and read some stuff, and looked up, we even looked up some of these different status conditions and effects of some of these diseases and how they progress while you play a campaign, and some of the things that they were done and things you could do with them, I think added, or would have added, a very interesting dynamic that I missed out on as a DM. Now, it's not to say that, you know, I'm going to go back and do it when I have the chance. Well, I probably will. But at the same time, it's all going to come down to the type of game that I'm going to run to. So, kind of a tip for everybody. So if you're considering, did I just pick up gold or did I pick up something else? Wait, am I over encumbered all of a sudden? Nope. That's weird. I'm suddenly walking. Now, so my tip for you guys, in determining, oh man, now I gotta hold down my shift key, that's gonna suck. Ugh. So, you know, when determining, you know, whether you want to add in diseases or poisons or ailments or anything like that, a couple things that I suggest. Consider, one, the type of setting you're trying to establish. Then, two, consider the types of players that you have. You know, are your players going to be into that kind of thing? is having this. Ah, ah. They've gotten a little haywire here. All of a sudden, look like a trolls. Sand fire. Yeah. So consider that. Those two things. Just those two things alone will help you decide or not whether you want to use them. Now, my recommendations. So if you want to do anything about it based on your setting, one, does it make sense that there would be sicknesses and diseases in your setting? Well, in most cases, yes. But at the same time, I'm talking fantasy settings. So if you are running really a setting that is really, 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 really heavily based with magic, maybe it makes more sense that, for whatever reason, maybe, most diseases have been cured with magic, so there's no one to be worried about. Or if you do get sick, you can just go down to your local mage and they'll take care of it. So maybe you don't. Then it's not necessarily really a need. I'm just really slow to listen, I feel like. Let's consider that. Now, next, like I said, you want to consider your players. Now, the reason I'm saying you want to consider your players is, are you just having more of a casual group? A group that's just kind of getting together, just to, you guys are using it as a way to gather and just kind of, shoot the breeze, so to speak. Just coming to, it's your way of hanging. If you're doing it, it's more of a happy-go-lucky type game, type of campaign that you're running. Probably not the complicated mechanic system, but I guess it's not overly complicated. But it's not really the mechanic that you probably want to throw into your game. Just because it does add... Oh my goodness, I'm about to die. It does add... Ooh, this guy's trying to kill me. It does add a level of complication to it, and it does add a lot of things that you're going to have to track. Because you have to then start tracking, how many days have gone by, how, what stage of the ailment are they in? What symptoms should they be showing? What symptoms aren't they showing? But things like that. Like there's a lot more to track, and there's a lot more to track on your part as the DM, more than the player. Especially if you're not wanting the player to realize that they've been infected. Which again, maybe you want them to know that they're infected so they can track it. Or maybe you don't want them to know that they have it so they can't track it. And that way, it becomes a, just this kind of shock once they finally figure it out, once the symptoms really start to kick in. Now, and honestly guys, the type of group and the people you're playing with will really be the major dictator here. Oh crap. Oh crap. Dwarven spheres. I don't know if I'm ready for these guys. Oh, this hasn't been too bad. I think I got a lot of health potions. Alright. So, you know, don't be... Don't feel bad if it's something that you want to add in, but can't simply because, you know, you think it's going to have too much of a negative effect on your group. Because you want to put your group first. Because, you know, first and foremost, guys, the whole reason that you're playing with a group of people to begin with is because you're wanting to get together and have fun. And, you know, you don't want to add in something... Ay, this stuff hurts. Chihuahua. Ow, man. Those guys smack hard. With that stupid spit. Ugh. Ugh. So, you know, really make that your major consideration. You know, now, you know, I could talk about, I could probably get into another subsection of, you know, like, you know, what types of diseases you should have versus others, and you know, effects to, you know, consider, but, you know, that's really, that's going to be, there could be a whole video in and of itself. And I'll probably do a video, a chance for some feedback, I guess. If you think I should do a video on homebrewing, and like tips and tricks that I use when constructing a homebrew, let me know. I would be more than happy to do a video on homebrewing a campaign or setting. I actually kind of think that would actually be really fun now. Now that I think about it. So, you know, I might just go ahead and do it after all. Anyway, so... so... Whoops, that's not what I wanted. Yeah, that's totally where I just was, wasn't it? That totally was where I just came from. You know, so oh, maybe. Hey there, guys. Really? You're gonna try and electrocute me, man? So, anyway. Once you have figured out whether you'd have it in or not, you know, you really... Someone there? Now you're mine. Ouch. So, you know, well, once you have it figured out what you want to do or not, you know, then it's time to start thinking about, you know, the types of things too. You know, because you don't want to do all the extra work. But like I said, it'll be a video for another time, guys. Or I can include it as part of the homebrew series of tips and tricks. So, I feel like as DMs, it's really our job to, or GMs and creators, you know, to make sure that these things are available. Like, I have seen some settings and rule sets that actually don't have diseases or poisons or anything like that in them at all. And I kind of makes me sad a little bit, because I think it can be a very useful tool. You know, so if you're running a campaign or a setting, and you're incorporating something like this, I think it can definitely add a very interesting twist, or what's what I'm looking for? Challenge. I can actually add a very interesting challenge to the mix. Because if you're not, if your players aren't expecting it and you're not telling them, you know, as things begin to develop and they begin to get sicker and sicker with the disease and infection, you know, they can start, subtly, putting in things like, like with 5th edition, you can give them disadvantage on rolls, and maybe they don't understand why they're getting disadvantage, or man, this is a long dungeon, or maybe off to the side, if you don't want to give them something with the disadvantage mechanic from 5th edition of D&D, perhaps you, behind the scenes, add a modifier or disadvantage, like a -2 or something to their roll, or a +2, depending on the game system you run, to offset their roll, to make it, this or that of pass or succeed. But now with something like, adjusting that, you gotta have to be careful, like, if you're not telling them, like, especially with, like, combat, like, if they see that, player A rolls an 18 and hits the bad guy, but then he rolls an 18 and doesn't hit the bad guy, he's gonna question that, so you gotta, but then again, it does, I guess, present that opportunity for them to start figuring out that, okay, something is very wrong with my character, and he's not telling me why. Perhaps I need to check this. I guess there could always be a good prompt there, but you never know. So you try. Now, that kind of covers just about everything that kind of wanted to cover in terms of in gaming. Because really everything else I wanted to cover or mention or talk about is more my ideas on it, or like thoughts that I've had in terms of things to do it, or how to not run, but I guess run a campaign when you're incorporating this in. So, first and foremost, one of my main things of inspiration is actually Skyrim. And naturally, of course, my love for the undead, which you've kept up with some of my other series that I've done. You guys probably know that I have a deep and strange fascination with the undead. Now, Skyrim, especially this questline that I'm on. This is Periite questline. I thought it was really interesting that you have this, you know, he's the Daedric god and whatnot, and they all have their followings, but, you know, these are kind of, this cult that worships this death god, or not this death god, this god of disease, and for it, they get sick. You know, they actually contract an illness when they become such devout followers. Which, you know, again, not a very uncommon trope with things like these. But I just thought it was really interesting, too, because it also reminded me of some of the Warhammer 40k universe stuff. The Chaos God Nurgle, who is the god of, like, death and decay. So, you know, I was very reminded of him. What seems wrong about this all of a sudden? So we're down here. And with that, oh no, this is totally not the way I need to go. I am suddenly lost, guys. At least I think I'm lost. I'm not really sure anymore. Because he's just gonna send me back up over here. I haven't been here yet. Okay, I thought I had been over here already. Alright, so the idea that kind of comes to mind, again, it is very based off of this, where you have this concept of having, you know, this god or deity in your setting that, you know, people worship, and that when they do worship him or her, or it, I guess, and that, you know, they can actually become afflicted with a disease. You know, and you know, maybe their goal is to spread that disease. You know, which can add for a very... They fall down, go boom. A very interesting story arc. Because there's a multitude of things you can add for them. You know, maybe that they're trying to spread the disease, and that's why their deity infects them. You know, you go kind of, I kind of touched on this in my Necromancy series, of, you know, having a medieval setting that has a zombie outbreak. You could use some kind of disease god to be the starter for something like that. And I think that would actually kind of be a really interesting play on it. Because you don't normally see something like that. But, you know, it's not something that I've seen. I'm not seeing it really in any settings. I haven't heard any stories or listened to any podcasts, but that's been a thing. And I think that could be a really interesting, like, concept to follow through with and try out. The next thing that comes to mind is but with diseases, you know, they had that level of dynamic with these status effects that apply that affect the player's abilities to do things. Now, you know, it does become a lot of work to track that kind of stuff, and it can cause problems for you as a DM, and especially if you lose track of something. Now, at the same time, though, if done right, and depending on the affliction that you're trying to, affect your player or players with, it can be interesting, and I think this was covered in a podcast that I listened to, and that might be why it comes to mind, to be honest. And if I am getting it from a podcast, then more than likely I'm getting it from the podcast Crit Academy, which the guys at Crit Academy are awesome. If you're not familiar with that podcast, as a oh crap. Yeah, if you're not familiar with oh my god, this guy's gonna kill me. I don't know if I have enough health potions for this, guys. Oh man, this is gonna come down to the wire. Oh crap. Oh, I got him. Oh, that wasn't stressful at all. Holy crap. Oh, man. I just fought a Centurion. You really gonna send spiders after me? Ay. So I think it can add. So yeah, Crit Academy, I think is where I'm getting this idea from. So, if you're not familiar with it as a DM, go check them out. They are really great to listen to. They provide some really cool stuff. They have the giveaways on items, like little campaign modules and stuff that people have written. They also take and answer questions that people submit, and then every episode they create a monster variant, and they provide a character concept and a counter and a magical item that they come up with, or that someone has submitted to them to talk about. And if it's a listener submitted item, they talk about it. They come up with ways to make it interesting, and how they would run an item or use an item, like what's being presented to them. And it's a great show. So the idea that I have is, I would recommend, because if I'm getting it from them, it was technically their idea. But I chew through like all my health potions for this. Oh, don't you dare teleport! Oh, don't you dare teleport, boy! Don't you do it! So, having your players become. I don't have. What? Why is he up there? I don't have anything. Do I? Well. Restoration, powers. Alteration. Well. Best I'm gonna be able to do right there is a spark spell. Well, got the job done, didn't it? So, your players, if you're doing dungeon crawls especially, you know, they go into the dungeon. You know, maybe along the way one of them gets scratched, or, you know, just something happens to them. And, you know, somewhere along the lines, you know, whatever it is that they came in contact with, or, you know, they touched, or whatever it may have been, you know, whether they realize it or not, has infected them with some kind of disease. Now, several days later, they get back to town, they think everything's fine and dandy, not knowing that they've been afflicted with this disease. And, you know, they start interacting with the townsfolk. For too long, the townsfolk become infected. Adventurers head off, continuing adventuring. For whatever reason, either the player, you know, doesn't, you know, show any further signs of being sick, or never really did anyway, or was just a carrier, or maybe somewhere along the lines they unintentionally cured it. You know, maybe they felt on a bath of salt, or, you know, maybe they drank an ale that happens to cure it. Who knows? We could come up with anything really as a DM. You know, and then they begin getting word of a disease that's spreading, that's killing. Or maybe it's turning the victims into zombies, or something like that. And, you know, comes to find out that it was, you know, started in this town that the, you know, the players went to, and so on and so forth, and it seemed to be spreading that way. Like, you know, whatever town they were just at seems to now suddenly be overcome with this disease. And, you know, unless you have them be cured, and then it just has that starting point. But, you know, then if the players take that book and go back and investigate, and, you know, and they start looking into who, you know, looking at, you know, the local apothecary's notes, or a local doctor of some kind, or medicine man, or healer. You know, maybe the first person they came in contact with, you know, was the first person who died from it. And, you know, put in these little subtle hints, you know, to lead it back to, it was the players who went to this dungeon, and that's where they got it from.
Embrace order.
So, you know, I think it would just be a really interesting concept that the players unintentionally spread a disease, then, you know, greatly affects, you know, the world. You know, have it spread quickly, have it spread far and wide, you know, to have this great effect on... I didn't get any items out of that. Wow, that's the last time I do a Daedric quest, then. That kind of sucked. Oh no, I got Spellbreaker. Never mind. 55. One blocking creates a... Wow. Okay. Wait, I totally equipped the Spellbreaker. There we go.
Once curl their noses, but it's pus that drinks foul humor.
Weapons.
And restores the blood.
Oh, that's cool. Sweetness. I don't like the fact that it's concave, but... Or is it convex? I don't know. Anyway, so... You know, that was just, you know, the other idea I had. You know, I have to say, this video timed out perfectly. For the first time in a long time, my videos have timed to have themselves perfectly. Like, I got through that dungeon and got back here and turned in the quest and was done just in time with my thought, too. So, which, of course, guys, means I've reached the end of the video, sadly. You know, I could probably share with you guys a dozen more ideas. I could share with you guys some ideas about specific poisons. or diseases that I've thought up over the years. But, you know, I'm not going to drag the video on for hours and hours to do something like that for you guys. Now, if you are interested in something like that, please, as always, leave me some feedback, leave me some comments below. I will be more than happy to either do some follow-up videos or do some additional blog posts on my website, which of course you can always find in the description below, guys. And you know, I'll be more than happy to share some more thoughts with you guys, or share some more ideas with you guys about these different things. So, but you know, I could ramble on as always, but I'm not going to. We're going to get wrapped up here. Before we go into the normal plugs of everything, we will jump right into our playlist real fast. So for our housekeeping for the playlist, guys, don't forget, I am always happy to take on your suggestions. So, you know, as always, please keep it to at least one song per video. Throw it out there, leaving the name of the song and the name of the artist that does it. You know, because there are cover songs out there, and I want to make sure that I grab the right one for you and add it to the Nerd Eclectic playlist. You know, like I said in my early videos, guys, I want to make this playlist so big, I have to make a second one. Or I hit the cap limit on Spotify from how many songs I can add to a playlist. I am trying to do it, and I need your guys' help to do it. So please give me your songs. Now, with that, our song for the Nerd Eclectic playlist, guys, is going to be... Ooh, there are some good ones here. Since we did Danger Quest, let's go ahead and go with the tried and true classic, The Devil Went Down to Georgia, by the Charles Daniels Band. So that will be that. Now, the second part of housekeeping, when it comes to our BeardBrigade song of the day, as a reminder, guys, that it is our more grown-up associated playlist in terms of language that I try to keep out of the songs for the Nerd Eclectic playlist. I know I don't catch them all, but you know, I do have a couple songs in the Nerd Eclectic playlist that have some choice language, but the Nerd Eclectic playlist is I'm trying to make it as family friendly as possible. Well, the BeardBrigade song of the day, yeah, song of the day, yeah. This is my personal playlist, so I'm not so conscious in terms of language there. So please be advised, some of the songs may not be appropriate for children. Now, I typically leave the selection of that for myself. However, there have been a few cases where someone has suggested a really great song that I could not pass up to add to the song of the day. So if you have a really great suggestion on a super awesome song of the day, please throw it out to me in a video or in the comments below on any of my videos. If I really like that song and I really think it would be an awesome song of the day, I will docket it for one of the next videos that I record, and if I use it, I will be sure to give you a shout out. And if for some reason I don't give you a shout out, please call me on it, and I will, you know, I will make sure that you know, I give you a shout out in the next video for having suggested it and whatnot. So you know, guys, feel free to make sure you leave me those songs. So as for though our song of the day, let me take a look here. I've been adding some new songs lately to my favorites, especially today, man. I was at work, I was just jamming out, and it was just song after song after song today. It was a solo song after song after song for a while too that I was just going, no. You know, as always, guys, you know, I think Spotify is a super awesome app for music, not only just for your phone, but you know, on your PlayStation and for PC as well. Again, I'm not 100% sure if it's on Xbox, but if it is, feel free to check it out. And I am not sponsored by them in any way, shape, or form. If you think they should sponsor me, I guess you can go send them an email and be like, hey, there's this guy who does a YouTube channel, and he has these playlists that he does at the end of his videos. You guys should totally sponsor him. Here he is. If you think that could work in my advantage and you want to do that for me, cool, thanks. But honestly, I'm not going to reach out to them for any reason of my own. I just really, really like their product, and I'm going to suggest it to you guys every time I do a video. So, again, I am seeing lots and lots of good songs, and I don't know which one to pick. And it's driving me nuts. Oh, man. Oh, man. Gurgle, 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 gurgle. Okay, here we go. So, the song is The Catacombs by Shadow of Intent, featuring Jason Evans and Dickie Allen. Metalcore song. Listened to it today. It was super badass. Or bad, but I apologize for the curse there, guys. But it was a super awesome song. I jammed out and worked my butt off to that song. So, that is going to be our song today, guys. So, to finish wrapping up, as always, guys, if you were not already following me on Instagram, you of course can find me at BeardBrigade0 on Instagram. You can check me out on Twitter, of course, at BrigadeBeard. You can, of course, like and subscribe to the video if you've enjoyed yourself, and subscribe so that way, one, you know, the next time a video comes out, but more importantly, if you do subscribe, make sure you hit that bell. That way you do get the notifications the next time that I do have my videos up. You know, as in terms of the current schedule, of course, every Monday we have Monster Monday, where we go about doing, talking about monsters, coming up with monster variations, or monster concepts, for your storytelling, DMing, GMing, tabletop, creative ideas, storytelling, blah blah shenanigans. You can feel free to use my ideas, guys, and you know, just let me know how they go when you use them. Give me that feedback. Send me your links. Send me your videos. Send me your podcasts. Whatever. Of course, now we have Tabletop Tuesdays. This is our second episode. We'll cover various different topics for, again, your DM, GM, tabletop, storytelling, indie game development ideas out there. Then we have Wildcard Wednesdays, which I am doing challenge videos for. Still on the fence, guys, about doing further Skyrim challenge series. I did my first couple, and they were really enjoyable for me. But based on the analytics that I was looking at for the channel, they weren't getting as much love as everything else. So, you know, if you want me to bring them back, let me know. If you don't want me to bring them back, well, I guess just don't say anything, because right now I have them on hold. So, other than that, guys, I do a video every Friday as well, and I will do my best to get some other one-off videos out there as well on Saturdays occasionally. But as of right now, I'm taking Thursdays and Sundays off. I do plan on next month either solidifying what types of videos I do on Friday, or introducing a Thursday video in the schedule. Not sure which I'll be doing quite yet, but we'll figure it out come March. So, other than that, guys, the only other thing I want to plug, if you haven't seen my posts on Twitter, or you're not part of the Facebook group, which, by the way, guys, I totally been forgetting to plug that. If if you haven't, check out the description below. I have a Facebook group up for the channel. Feel free, you can jump in there. You can talk to me on Facebook. I do my best to reply and put in updates there left and right. Now, other than that, guys, the only other thing I want to mention real quick is, I've been, what is this, this video, again, I'm on my, a little bit ahead of this game here, scheduling, in terms of recording, but this video will be posting as of, let me look at my calendar here, so that should be February 12th, guys. Now, let's see, actually a week ago, from when this video should be airing, I started a GoFundMe account. So that way you guys, if you like the channel and you want to help me out in getting, better stuff or improving the quality of the channel, that is a way for you guys to support the channel. So, especially because, to let you guys in case you haven't read many of the posts or gone over to that GoFundMe page, the computer I have is a bit of an older computer. I built it 3, 4, maybe even 5 years ago, and it's already starting to show, as of lately, because of all of the recordings and editing software that I have and all the work that I've been doing on it, it's starting to show some wear and tear, and it's starting to show some signs that it might not be with me through the rest of the year. It'll get me. I'll keep it alive long enough to get me there, but its fate is going to catch up to it, and its age is quickly catching up to it. So I created the GoFundMe now rather than later. That way I'm not in this mad dash to try and get a computer. So I have a GoFundMe up. The main point is to for you guys to have a way to support me, and show your support, and if you want to make a donation, you can. If you just want to share that and help me out, I would greatly appreciate that as well. Everything helps, guys. Just because for you guys who've been with me since the beginning, or whatnot, you guys know that I am first and foremost, I'm a dad. I'm a dad of 3 kids, so they are going to be their first concern. So not to say that I can't come up with the money on my own, guys. I just want to throw that option out there as a way for you guys to show that support, because we are doing our best to set aside the money to get that on our own, but wanted to throw that option out there. So if for some reason I do get a computer on my own beforehand, those funds will be, of course, used for things like better webcams, camera to use for us to shoot stuff behind the scenes and get some more pictures out there for you guys. Do some additional content for the channel, as well as get things like capture cards for Ninja Blue's Xbox, as well as my PlayStation. That way we can do some videos in some other games that are on our consoles. As well as get, just other, accessories and things like that for us to help improve the channel, moving forward. So you can find the link to that, guys, in the description below. I yammered about it a little bit longer than I probably should have, but I will try to expedite my explanations in the future of it. So anyway, guys, that wraps us up. So I hope you guys have enjoyed, and as always, guys, I hope you guys take care of yourselves and have a super, super fantastic rest of your day, alright?